OUTTAKE ESL. This is Sean. Today I want to take a look at a presentation I did for my 7th graders here. I would still consider maybe beginning proficiencies on eating out and at the restaurant. I did this for the 7th grade class, and it went pretty well, I thought. On the first half of it, I like to kind of focus on the first week. I like to focus on just kind of meal times, and on the second half, I like to focus on some of the conversation and dialogues you'd have at a restaurant. So let's get started and take a look at eating out. And as I always do in my classroom, I like to start off with the greeting. So we start with the good morning or good afternoon, Mr. Sardo. For this as a reward system, I chose the game of Gridlock. Here you draw a grid on the board with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you have the students pick a letter. They have to give you a word beginning with that letter, and then you have a chart, and you look on your chart and you tell them if it's a point or no point. You can see more of this on my ESL Easy Games. We go through rules, of course. This new rule, Booyah Jenjao, means don't scream. I found the noise level getting a little too high, maybe a little bit disruptive for the other classrooms, so I started to ask my students not to scream so much. Please listen, please sit down, no eating, no drinking. Class and speak English. And this is usually where I start the class, and we like to do a little warm-up. It's my chance to kind of review some of the language you used in our last class. Usually just a quick conversation. I'll go through my name list, pick a few students, and off the name list, and I'll ask them, okay, how are you today? What did you eat for dinner last night, or something like that. I like to warm up. Usually go, all right, everybody, time to get stretched out here. I do so with phonics. Here I'm looking at some vowel sounds in this first lesson. I chose AR. And as in R as in star. OR, this is or as in doctor. ER, as in letter. And IR, as in bird. And also UR, as in purse. And then we just kind of go through here. Usually what I'll do is I'll have the vowel the phonetic symbols of what we're looking at today written on the board. And so I might give them, if they're having trouble, I might go, okay, this is a P. What's this? K. So, park. And this is, I always try and use words that we've used previously in classes or we're going to be using in the class today. So this is K. Once it over here, so t, skirt, Thursday. And most of these phonetic spellings I take right out of a application called Free Dictionary. If you download that application, they also have the phonetic sort of sounding of words on there, and I usually take them right from there, though I don't always agree with their phonetic sounding. Purple, argue, store, orange, thirsty, guitar, nurse, Saturday. Like I said, I do that really just kind of muscle memory. You know, you want to get their, get them used to sounding out words and sounding out syllables, and a lot of that's depending on muscle memory. So I like doing it every class. I think it's necessary just as much as if you were practicing a sports, for a game or something like that. Like I said, the first lesson, the first week, I'll look at mealtime. So here I want to just kind of look at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I start out with a question here. What's the question? What do you... And like I said before, I'm working with the school's curriculum. I'm looking for the language in their textbooks. I'm looking for the questions and answers that they are sort of focusing on, and I'm sort of bringing them into my own lessons. Here usually you can get the whole class to kind of, if you just kind of point to the blank. So what goes here? I usually have pizza. What comes next? For lunch. Boom. And then you get the class to repeat it. Do a little repetition of the entire phrase. Start out with a listening exercise here. This is one that I wrote myself. I have Lily, Harry, and Tom. I say, okay, what do Lily, Harry, and Tom look for breakfast? I wrote kind of different proficiency levels for this. This is the one I ended up using. So for breakfast, I would say, okay, look at Lily. I want to know, what time does she eat and what does she eat? Or what does she usually eat? So I have the class listen. At breakfast time, Lily usually eats a light meal around 7:30. She will typically have a bowl of fruit and a cup of tea before going to school. So what time does she eat? 7:30. What does she usually eat? Fruit and tea. Let's take a look at Harry. Listen. Harry gets up at 7:45, so he doesn't eat until 8 or 8:30. He usually has a bowl of cereal along with a glass of juice. Time, he eats 8 or 8:30. What does he usually eat? Cereal or juice, right? And let's listen to Tom. What time does he eat and what does he usually eat? Tom takes a shower at 7:45, so he eats breakfast at 8. Tom always has a big plate of pancakes with a large glass of milk. So what does he eat? What time? 8 o'clock. And he eats pancakes and milk. Right? So they have to kind of sort of listen to the exact, when I say when he eats breakfast, as opposed to, take a shower or in the case of Harry, gets up. Then we take a look at some vocabulary with breakfast. Pretty important when you're talking about food. There's such a variety that you're inevitably going to be, introducing new vocabulary, trying to sort of build in that area. So here you have cereal. Chinese. Usually I'll ask them, what's the Chinese? So Bing. English muffin. It's Chinese time. Here I have to kind of, emphasize that there's two. So we talk about eggs. Bacon, bao jianbing, pancakes, and sausage. And then what I'll do on this slide here, I'll take away the English and I'll go back through it and review it. What's this here? Cereal. What's this here? Pancakes. What's this here? And just kind of randomly go over this slide and get them to tell me what they are. Because then we move into the memory game, and here I go through these. What's this? Bacon, pancakes, cereal, sausage, cereal, boom. And then you take it away. And for points, I might say, okay, what was the third one? What was the third one? Team one. It was, I might say, pancakes. Let's see. Was it pancakes? No, cereal. Then I might go back and try the other team. Okay, what was the fifth one? Cereal. Let's see. The cereal? Yes, all right. So here I'd ask them to go to the board. Give me a letter. A, apple. Okay, let me see. Check my chart. Point or no point. And I have a couple slides of that, just 2 slides, kind of variation. Eggs, bacon, pancakes, sausage, muffin. Kind of repeats. One side, one team, and then the next team. We get to this slide, and it's just kind of what do you usually have for breakfast, all right? So what I usually have, you can just kind of go around the teams. What I do here is I split it in 2 teams, and I just kind of add up points. So I might go to team 1, and I'll find a student. Usually I'm looking for the students that aren't paying attention. Or writing something in their books or something like that. And I'll say, what do you usually have for breakfast? I usually have coffee. All right. So team 1, 3 points. Team 2, what do you usually have for breakfast? I have bacon, 5 points. Back to team 1, what do you usually have for breakfast? I usually have milk. It's 2 points. Back to team 2, what do you usually have? I usually have eggs. Ooh, 11. Do it one more time maybe. And then I tally up the score for each team. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 11. Ooh, 15. So team 2 gets a point. Another way I do this sometimes is to allocate them a certain Another way you can sort of approach this slide or this game is to you say, okay, you only have 20, and if you go over 20, or if you only have 15 points, and if you go over 15 points, you lose. Right? There's a couple ways you can use this slide. Ooh, and this one's kind of a quick one. What do you usually have for breakfast? I wanted to kind of work on combinations here, because when we talk about it, we usually talk about eating something and drinking something. So what I have here is cereal and juice. What I have here, eggs and bacon. What I have here, bread and milk, fruit and tea. So I usually have, for breakfast, go to team 1, ask 1. Go to team 2, ask 1. Everybody gets it right. They said bread and milk. They get a point. Then I move on to lunch. So I want to talk about lunch now. Once again, I have a listening script here that I read out to the class. So it goes a little bit like this. At school, Lily usually eats some noodles and juice for lunch. She eats lunch after her English class at 12:30, and then she chats with her friends. What time? 12:30. What does she usually eat? Noodles and juice. Harry. Alright, so Harry eats a little earlier at noon and typically eats his favorite meal, pizza and soda, for lunch. Time, noon, you should know noon, 12 o'clock, either or. He wants to eat pizza and soda. And Tom eats a sandwich and milk in the school dining hall between 1 and 1:30. And then plays some basketball with his friends. So what time? Between 1 and 1:30, and it usually has sandwich and milk. Introduce some vocabulary here. Once again, because it's food, you're going to be sort of building on vocabulary here, because there's such a variety of foods to be eaten. I want to take a look at some of the Western words, also Western varieties. So sweet potato fries, soda, shui jiao, dumplings. I'm going to make sure they know the Chinese. And actually it should be jiaozi. I don't know why. Shui jiao is a certain kind of dumpling. Typically it's jiaozi. Sandwich, sushi, and once again, kind of repeat. Certain aspects of this lesson I like to repeat just because it moves a little bit quicker. But here, as in a memory game, I kind of have two students stand up. It's called my dialogue duels. And we'll have this one student stand up, another student stand up, and I'll say, usually it's better to have them turn their backs to the board and then say, ready, go. I eat what for lunch? I eat sushi. All right, so the student who didn't get it, I'll have them repeat the sentence. So what do you have for lunch? I eat sushi for lunch. All right, very good. And the student will get their points. Sometimes if you want to let them, select the next student, that can be kind of fun if you have time. Go through some dialogue dues, pick some students. What do you use? Loser has to say, I eat, recite the sentence to me or tell me what the sentence is. Soup, fries, dumplings, soda. And back to the side, what do you usually have for lunch? Once again, maybe I'll switch it up here. I'll say you only have 20, you only have 15, because I did the highest points in a previous exercise. Maybe here I'll do, okay, you can't go over 15 for lunch. On this slide, what do you have at lunch? Once again, I wanted to kind of do some combinations of drinks and some meals and drinks, food and drinks. So pizza and soda, sushi and water, hamburgers and fries, sandwich and soup. Typical combinations, pizza and soda. And then we move on to dinner, and for dinner I have another listening script here. I say Lily eats dinner at home at 5:30. She likes to eat healthy and has a salad with her steak. Oops, should be 6. 6. bacon salad. With Harry, I say Harry likes, what was that? Go on, Harry? Okay. Harry eats at home at 7 o'clock. His father cooks him fish, but he doesn't like fish, so he eats a lot of rice also. So fish and rice. And then with Tom, let's see, Tom, where's Tom? On the other hand, Tom eats at 6 o'clock with his family and usually eats his favorite meal of chicken and tomato soup. So chicken and soup. Do some common dinner meals. So steak, pasta, salad, shrimp, also prawn, okay, pie, and wine. I don't know why that one's there. Here we have matches, so I'm looking for matches of the word and the English and the Chinese. So Xianbing, pie, no. Actually, yeah. Shala. Looking for matches, so you go around the classroom and you say maybe, all right, pick two letters. B, shala, and G, pie, salad, pie, no. And so B and C, salad, yes, get a point. Another variation with the new vocabulary, just looking for matches. Once again, the tallying up scores, do it either or. And combinations, what you usually do, so dumplings and rice, steak and potato, chicken and soup, and fish and rice. Winner gets a point. And then I kind of just go through this slide here. So what do you usually have for dinner? So as you see here, the dinner disappears. So it's kind of a time memory game. So we say they, once again I want them to be talking about the third person. So they usually have what? What do they usually have? And it's just memory of what they saw for dinner. You point to the window and back, so you say, well, what time, what are they eating? What meal? Lunch, breakfast, or dinner? So they usually have fish, rice, and wine for dinner. Well, next slide, okay. So you see this in the back, what time do you think it is? Maybe noon, so for lunch, she usually has what for lunch? Milk, apple, fries, and chicken. Time, morning, so breakfast, what he usually has? Bacon, eggs, juice, banana, and cereal. It's kind of tough. They, dinner, what do they usually have? Salad, soda, steak, soup. They, breakfast, what do they usually have? Fruit, pie, hamburgers, and water. She, breakfast, fruit, pie, milk, and coffee. And then the last exercise for this class is the rock, paper, scissors role play that I came up with. I have one student pick two students, and they just kind of go through the style guide. What do you usually eat for breakfast? I usually eat blah blah. How about you? I have blah blah and blah blah. What do you have for lunch? For lunch I'll have blah blah. And you? I usually eat blah blah if I'm at school. What do you have for dinner most of the time? Most of the time I'll eat my favorite food, blah blah. Just have them go through that maybe once or twice, and rock, paper, scissors for points. Kind of usually the way I wrap up a class, and then move on to the next week. And here I wanted to kind of focus as actual, dialogues and conversations, or vocabulary and dialogues or sentences you would use at a restaurant. Start the class out as I always do. Introduce that. Go through the rules. Always go through the rules. And we get our warm-up in. This time I want to look at some consonant sounds. I looked at the letter R and combinations of R. So rain, tur, as in tree, dur, as in dress, gur, as in green. And here what I like to do is kind of just, emphasize the sound. Green. And I'll have them repeat that. So because I'm just kind of doing that muscle memory thing. Printer. And then we take a look at it. So I say, okay, we got the, what's that sound there on the board? And this is ass. Grass. I don't know, ass, but move on. Grow up. So I might have to give him dragon. Once again, these are words they should use, but when I'm having the class sort of repeat it, I'm kind of having the truck. This is a, so grave, drill, travel, rice, dream. Now, I did it this way because I saw in their curriculum, in their textbooks, that they use these phonetic symbols, and that's really the basis of the sounds. So, you know, I wanted to give them, I wanted to sort of reinforce that in my lessons. I want to reinforce the connection between the sound that the letters make, and you know, how they read that in the book too. Move on to the conversations. Might take a look at that slide there. I'd say, what do you think they are? What's this here? Do you know who this is? What's this person? Who's this person? What's their job? Waiter. Then I have a listening exercise here.
Good evening. Can I take your order?
Looking for them to repeat it word for word.
Yes, I'd like a steak, please.
Very good. Listening for it.
Would you like anything to start?
Once again, these are taken from ESL Library, a subscription service on the internet. I recommend it for all ESL teachers. I think they have really quality material. I like their illustrations. I like a lot of their the variety of their lesson plans, and the topics they sort of address are pretty interesting, I think, for an ESL classroom. Though I do wish they had more sort of beginner stuff. There's a lot of sort of intermediate work, but I kind of wish they had a little more sort of beginner material in there, maybe for kids.
I'll have a salad, please.
A lot of the times I find myself, you know, taking their audio and like stripping it down. I'll take out words, I'll take out sentences, I'll be taking out things in my, I use Audacity, the Audacity software, and you can just kind of edit down dialogues, take out words, you can put pauses in, things like that. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for my students, the proficiency level. I'm trying to cater it to my students, basically.
Would you like a beverage? I'll have a large Coke.
And, you know, it's no easy task.
I'll put your order in and be right back with some hot rolls and butter.
That's a tough sentence for him. I put it in there just because I had made everything really easy, and I wanted to throw one kind of curveball in there.
Thank you.
Because of following up, thank you. It takes a lot of work, you know, to create these things every week. You know, this is a complete like a program. It's a complete curriculum that I'm creating every week, you know, every semester. To go through some vocabulary here that they should know for the restaurant: menu, order, beverage, and dessert. Once again, beverage is just kind of a more sort of, I don't know, more more proper term for drinks, a more sort of what's the word I want to say? Formal way of saying drinks, I guess. And once again, I do kind of similar to the last class here. I'll just kind of go through those words again: beverage, order, menu. What's this here? Dessert. Kind of run through these really quick points, looking for just basically one student to give me an answer. Award points. Move on to the question. I take this out of the textbook and out of the dialogue that I presented. Would you like something? you like something to drink? An answer? Well, let's find out what the answer is. Well, I'd like, first of all, let's see what's on the menu. So on this exercise, I say go through these. I got milk, soda, coffee, juice, tea, and wine. So I say, what do we have? What do we have? What do we have? Oh, this is how I did it. I'm sorry. I did it wrong. Let's go back. So with this exercise, I want to talk a little bit about what we have at the restaurant. So I talk about the menu, what's on the menu. And I start here and I say, so we have tea. Which is tea? Which is coffee? Which is juice? Which is soda? And then I'll review the ones that we didn't use. What's A? A is milk. What is F? Wine. Usually I'm introducing that one. And then I move on to this exercise. Can I interest you in a drink? So I play the role of a waiter here. I'll say, can I interest you in a drink? And they might say, juice. And then I'll go over to team 2. Can I interest you in a drink? I'll have soda. Let's see what we have. Ooh, soda. So we get a point. We get 3 points here. Now what I did here is I had those students, the 2 that I selected. Now they play the role of the waiter, and they have to say, "Can I interest?" They pick somebody on their team. Can I interest you in a drink? And that person will say, "I'll have tea." Team 2, you're the waiter. Can I interest you in a drink? I'll have coffee. We'll play the game. If they get it correctly, that team gets 2 points. Now they switch the role of waiter. They get to select a new student. We try another slide. Drink. I have milk. One point. All right, so I'm just kind of going through this dialogue that you might have between a customer and a waiter. Would you like something to start? All right, so I talk about starters. Let's see what's on the menu. All right, so we have soup. Which is soup? Salad. Which is cheese. Which is shrimp. Oops, my mistake. So which is shrimp? E. And then we go through the other 2. Maybe they don't know them. Potato and rolls. And we play the same kind of game. I'll play the role of waiter. I'll pick 2 students. Would you like something to start? I'll have soup. All right, team 2. Would you like something to start? I'll have salad. Oh, wow, +5 for that team. Now they switch the roles. Now the student plays the waiter. They select somebody on their team, and the same with the other team. They play the role. Go through a couple slides of these. So would you like something to start? Everyone gets 2 points. Now those students play switch roles. They are the waiter now. They pick another student. Something to start. I'll have shrimp. I'll have rolls. They get 2 points. Move on to the next part of taking an order. Can I take your order? Here I'm talking about main courses. And order. Let's see what we have for our main course. Main course, we have chicken. Which is chicken? Beef. Beef. Steak. What is that? Hamburgers. Very good. What is that? Sushi. Very good. All right. Can I take your order? Go through it again. 4. Switch roles. Student is the waiter now. Rolls. Sushi +3. And then we move on to the last question. Taking order. Would you like something for dessert? And let's see what we have. We have cake, which is cake. No, since I got it, I'll just pick a student and they can play a waiter right up. Since they understand what the game is, I don't have to to give them more chance to be speaking. I'll have them just play the waiter. This, switching. And then we take our order here. So she says, we gotta go back. Kind of similar to last week's lesson. We play the memory game. She'll have, may I take your order? She'll have, what will she have? She'll have soup, salad, soda, and steak. Alright, so it's he. So he'll have, what will he have? I don't know. Fish, salad, soup, and water. What will she have? What will he have? And we take your orders. Here I definitely play like the, I'll give you so much money. You have so much money to spend. If you go over that, you overspend. You're out of my restaurant. I think that's it. We have two. We have 10-second chats. I kind of changed the format since it was so, I decided to make a very basic, easy dialogue for them. So I'll give them 10 seconds. I'll pick two students. We'll run through it. Welcome. Can I take your order? Yes, I'll have blah, blah. Would you like something to drink? Yes, please. I'll have blah, blah. Is there anything else? No, that's all. I'll be right back. I give it. All right, so we practice it, and then I say, all right, you got 10 seconds. Go. Okay, there you go. Yes, I'll have milk. Would you like something? Would you like something? Yes, I'll have milk. Is there anything else? No, that's all. I'll be right back. Try and get it in more. They get it done. Give them both points. No, if they get done, they play rock, paper, scissors for a point. And that's all for the at the restaurant lesson that I gave recently. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope there's some ideas here that you can use in your classes. If you do, please let me know in the comment section below. If you have any ideas of your own you'd like to add to this, I'd love to hear them. But if you would also do me a favor, click like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. Let me know my content is being received out there. But that's all for OUTTAKE ESL. We'll talk to you later.